Very strange. Very interesting. Here's Canada making international news with one of the Manitoba ministers. He's an MLA for Waverley, Minister of Economic Development and Jobs. And he sent out this tweet. Here's his lovely wife shoveling their driveway, right? She's a hero, right? Thanks, wife. And he says, even after a 12-hour night shift at the hospital last night, my wife still has the energy to shovel the driveway. God bless her and all of our frontliners. Time to make her some breakfast. What kind of a husband wouldn't let his wife shovel the driveway after a 12-hour shift? After she gets through, maybe he can have her reshingle the roof and do a quick oil change on his car. I thought that was pretty funny. Maybe she likes to shovel the driveway, and the 12-hour shift. I don't know. After a 12-hour shift, I don't think anybody likes shoveling a driveway. For goodness sake, keep this intellectually impoverished buffoon away from influencing Canadian objectives or military objectives in or for Ukraine. Bad enough to have Justin Trudeau pretending to be a world leader. This is Melanie Joly. She won't rule out sending weapons to Ukraine over Russian military offensive. So that seems like we're picking sides. And, well, do you really want like a war with anyone right now with Justin Trudeau in charge? This is a bit of a long clip, but it's worth watching. We're going to watch the whole thing. And the reason is the NDP gentleman here, Don Davies, is out of touch with reality, and Pierre Poilievre actually gives him a small dose of it. Here we go.
I'm really glad to hear that he's awakened to the housing crisis in this country. Those of us in NDP have been pointing this out for decades. I come from the lower mainland of BC, and I can assure him that the housing crisis did not occur today. It did not occur in the last 3 or 4 years. It's been building for the last 20 years. Now, he was a member of a government that was in power in this country from 2006 to 2015 when the housing crisis was developing in the lower mainland. The other thing I wanted to mention was, of course, he has been a big proponent of free trade. Well, free trade, what it does, and is what we've been warning about for years, is when you reduce all the tariffs at the borders, capital flees to wherever it's cheapest to produce, and it reduces Canadian ability to compete with those. So my question to him is this. Does he now agree with the NDP that the neoliberal free trade policy was wrong and it made Canada dependent on other countries for primary goods? And what responsibility does he take for the housing crisis in this country?
Honourable member for Carleton.
Well, I would take responsibility for the fact that you could buy the average house in Canada for $450,000 when our government was in power. I will take full responsibility for that. And right now, that price is $720,000. It is 58% higher today than it was when Conservatives were in office. But the member is quite right that in his province, the problem is the worst. Where we have an NDP mayor in Vancouver, you can't get anything built. And so it's great for the rich. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad for everybody. If you've got a mansion in Vancouver, you're getting richer every day. You don't have to do a lick of work. You sit back on your big fat assets and get richer every day. And you've got an NDP premier who is equally anti-development and preventing people from building houses for more affordable living. And the snobs who like to keep poor people and minorities out of their neighborhoods are doing just fine in that NDP city because they won't allow any construction to happen in those ritzy, trendy, champagne socialist neighborhoods. As for the issue of wages, Mr. Speaker, the places that are beating us have high wages. Free enterprise Ireland, free enterprise Switzerland, free enterprise Singapore have significantly higher wages than here in Canada, and they're beating us all around. High wages are good for competitiveness. High cost of government is not.
Exactly. Stuart, come on, Tyler.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute my microphone and I'm off screen. Terrible. Awful. Apologies. So there you go. I mean, the reality of the policies, the liberal policies and the NDP policies that are pushed, these socialist policies, are that they make things more expensive and it results in bad management. And it is bad management. Did you know that in 2020, Canada introduced a corporate bond purchase program? Yeah. As previously announced, the bank has retained BlackRock Financial Markets Advisory to provide advisory services, and CIBC Mellon to serve as custodian. to serve as custodian. So interesting. BlackRock controls the purchasing of some Bank of Canada assets, right? Corporate bond purchase program managed by BlackRock. Huh. Wild, right? I mean, Vanguard and BlackRock own everything else. Why not the Canadian government too? A proposed new tax on home owners, assessed value $1 million to $1.5 million at 0.2%. That's $2,000 to $3,000 on a home of that size. And yesterday I showed you the Waterloo home that was a regular family home with like a one-car garage, assessed or purchased at $1.22 million. Right, so wild, and a $1.5 million to $2 million home will be 0.05, so $3,000 to $10,000, and a $2 million home will be at 1%, so that's $20,000 and up. Interesting indeed. Tax the rich sounds like an NDP proposal that will inadvertently harm every middle-class Canadian, because middle-class Canadians are now expected to afford or to be able to afford $1 million homes. Because can you buy $1 million? Like, can you buy a home that is not at least close to $1 million, right? Like 5 years ago, well, right now the average price of a home in Canada is $700,000. What happens when the average price is over $1 million and this tax is in place? Whew, scary stuff. And yeah, will the NDP love it? Yeah, they'll love it. They'll love it. They think it's great. Jack says there's a massive propaganda campaign underway to convince you that propaganda does not work with human minds. This is about the same. This is the mass formation psychosis. Here's the AP, the first one that I found this morning. So apologies. Lots going on this morning. Lots of things happening. So sorry if it's a little scattered today, but AP fact check says mass formation psychosis and unfounded theories spreading online suggest millions of people have been hypnotized into believing mainstream ideas to combat COVID-19. Psychology experts say the concept is not supported by evidence. Right. Yeah, mass formations, nothing to see here. Sorry, that's what I said before. And there's a Rocco Galati update as well. So that's the end of the show. Things are crazy, and they just keep getting crazier. And I think that this week and the coming weeks are going to really crystallize for some people what's happened. And, maybe not. Maybe the deadline in January comes and goes and nothing really changes. And maybe the premiers push back and say, no, we're not doing mandates for vaccinations, and you can't do that to our citizens. Is not going to happen, like Alberta and Saskatchewan have already done. Who knows? I honestly don't know what's going to happen. It doesn't look like the bare shelves Biden. Like, it doesn't look like the United States is materially better than Canada. There's a lot more freedom, but their supply chain looks to be under more attack. I'm not sure. Maybe Florida's a lot better. I don't know. How's the supply chain in Florida? Is Florida looking good? But it seems like what's happening is happening in Germany with their energy prices, happening in the UK with their energy prices and their supply chains, happening in the EU to a lesser degree. And as the gentleman in Mexico was saying, third world countries, they have shorter supply chains, right? Less to go wrong. And if something goes wrong, you go to the farmer and say, what's wrong? Right? You're not like, darn you, shipping container being held off the coast, right? So it's a really different thing. And we've done that to our own. We've made our supply chains really long. And we've been used to it for a very long time, having exotic fruits and all sorts of other stuff. So now, if it all collapses, we've done it to ourselves, expecting this never to collapse, right? So, and I mean, like, we've done it to ourselves, maybe not purposely, maybe not realizing what was happening, maybe being manipulated, but we still allowed it to happen, just like we're allowing all of these COVID restrictions to happen and to continue as well, right? So, all right, that's enough of me. Thanks for watching, everybody. Sorry about the noise. Apologies for speakers, etc. Sorry for being disjointed. There's just a lot going on. And thanks for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.